Chosen one. Nothing about this encounter is accidental. Heaven has intentionally brought you to this very moment. You were not led here by luck or curiosity, but by divine purpose. This is a sacred appointment, perfectly timed, where God's eternal plan meets your present reality. The Holy Spirit has guided your steps because what has been prepared for you is already in motion. And heaven refuses to let you overlook the blessing that belongs to you, deep within your heart. You have sensed it already, that quiet pull, that growing anticipation, that unexplainable weight upon your spirit is not ordinary emotion. It is the voice of revelation awakening your soul. As the Lord declares in Jeremiah 1:1-2, I am watching over my word to perform it. Those words are alive for you today. The waiting season is ending. The silence is breaking. And you are approaching a divine turning point, unlike anything you have experienced before. This promise reaches far beyond financial increase. It is about the inheritance heaven reserved for you, the purpose woven into your life before you were born, and the supernatural provision only God can release. Resources are being positioned, opportunities are opening, and doors that human hands could never unlock are swinging wide before you. The blessing that previous generations longed to witness is preparing to settle upon your life. Chosen one, open your heart and be ready to receive. Your breakthrough is no longer a distant hope. It has entered its appointed season. Heaven is calling your name, and this is the moment you were destined to embrace. Do not believe for a second that God has been absent. Every hidden tear, every late-night prayer, every whispered cry that no one else heard has been treasured before his throne. Nothing has escaped his attention. While you believed nothing was changing, he was arranging every detail beyond your sight. What appeared to be unanswered silence was actually divine wisdom at work. What seemed like frustrating delay was God's protection surrounding your future. There are moments when the Lord conceals his greater plan because revealing it too early would invite unnecessary opposition before it could fully develop. But that season has reached its conclusion. The covering has fulfilled its purpose. The release has begun. And you now stand at the threshold where God's promises move from expectation into visible reality. This is not a distant hope. You are standing at the threshold of answered prayers, fulfilled promises, and a level of favor you've never touched before. This word is not for everyone. This is for the anointed ones who endured silently, the ones who stayed faithful when it was lonely, the ones who refused to bow to pressure, who chose peace over retaliation, who kept walking even when the world wasn't watching. This is for the rejected, the overlooked, the warriors who wept in silence, the ones who carried oil in hidden places. You may feel exhausted, but heaven says, you are not empty. You are full, full of assignment, full of divine fire, full of endurance. People underestimated you because they couldn't see what was growing in the dark. They thought the silence was your ending. But the silence was soil. The hidden place was preparation. And now, what was delayed is being released. What was resisted is being pushed through by the hand of heaven itself. Hear me. Chosen one, your miracle is not on the way. It has already arrived. But it may not look the way you expected. It may be wrapped in unfamiliar circumstances, disguised in opportunities that don't look like the blessing you prayed for. That's why the Spirit had to stop you here, to tell you, open your eyes. It's already here. Miracles rarely arrive when we feel ready. They appear when we are aligned. And right now, Whether you feel it or not, you are in divine alignment. Behind the scenes, things are shifting. Angels are moving on your behalf. Approvals are being stamped in places you cannot see. Doors are unlocking that no human hand can shut. You are not overlooked. You are being reserved. God has preserved you for this exact hour. Chosen one. This is your signal. The drought is over. The waiting season is over. The silence is over. You are about to witness the fulfillment of what was spoken over your life. Delay has not cancelled your promise. It preserved it. It guarded it, until the moment your spirit was strong enough to carry it. I know what it feels like to sit in the dark seasons wondering if God still remembers you. I've walked through nights where silence felt louder than faith. But looking back, I can see it now. He wasn't ignoring me. He was shielding me. And that same hand of protection has been over you. What you thought was the end was really the beginning of something greater. Chosen one. You have been set apart. There's a reason you never quite fit in. A reason why the circles that embraced others resisted you. A reason you could walk into a room and instantly feel the atmosphere shift, even when you said nothing at all. That wasn't rejection. That was recognition. The spirit realm knows who you are. Darkness has always known you were different, from the beginning. You've carried something heavy, invisible, yet undeniable. It wasn't a curse. It was a mantle. What felt like isolation was consecration. God wasn't punishing you. He was positioning you. He removed certain voices because they would have weakened your discernment. He delayed certain opportunities because they would have distracted you from your true mission. Even when you didn't understand, you chose to trust. And that is what set you apart. Chosen one. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. You are an ambassador of another kingdom. Even in silence, your spirit speaks loudly. Even when weary, you carry an authority not yet fully activated. You've walked through doors others begged permission to enter. You've survived attacks designed to erase you. And though people may still wonder how you're still standing, heaven knows. Heaven has documented every step. This is why your warfare has been so specific. Why the resistance has been sharp. The enemy knew you were carrying something that could disrupt systems, break patterns, and release freedom. He tried to exhaust you before the miracle came. But it's too late. You're crossing over now. The hidden season didn't break you. It birthed you. What you carried in secret is about to flow in public. Chosen one. Hear this. Your miracle is already in motion. It's unfolding in ways your natural eyes might not recognize. That's why discernment matters now more than ever. Because heaven's answers often come wrapped in forms that look unfamiliar. God is answering prayers. But He's doing it in ways that force you to rely on faith. Not logic. I've lived this. I've prayed for breakthroughs and expected them to look like one thing, only to discover God's answer disguised in an unexpected opportunity or relationship. At first, I almost missed it, but when my spirit woke up, I realized it was exactly what I'd been praying for. Just not in the package I imagined. That's how God works. He protects the blessing by wrapping it in humility, in hiddenness, in forms that require discernment to see. And so, chosen one, heaven has interrupted your routine to declare this. Open your eyes. It's already here. You are aligned. Things are moving behind the scenes. Angels are being dispatched. Approvals are being sealed in the invisible realm. Doors are opening that no hand can close. You have not been overlooked. You've been reserved for such a time as this. This is your signal. The drought is over. The waiting season has served its purpose. The silence was never abandonment. It was strategy. And now, the veil is lifting. You are about to step into the fulfillment of words spoken long ago. You are not behind. You are right on time. Chosen one. Take a deep breath and let this truth sink in. What you thought was lost has only been preserved. Heaven has been saving you for this hour. You've been called to carry glory. You've been prepared to disrupt systems. You've been refined to carry fire. And now, Heaven says, it's your time. Chosen one. Heaven wants you to understand this. You were preserved for such a time as this. Every battle, every tear, every silent night where you questioned your worth. It was not wasted. It was preparation. You were being fortified, made unshakable, tested like gold in the fire. You were being set apart as a torchbearer. That is why the attacks came so relentlessly. That is why the pressure felt unbearable at times. The enemy hoped you would quit before you ever discovered how close you were. But you didn't. You are still here. And because you endured, you are stepping into fulfillment. The promise hasn't expired. The word over your life is not cancelled. Heaven has been watching over it all. God himself has been guarding what he spoke over you. And his word cannot return void. Every prophecy, every dream, every quiet whisper you thought was forgotten, it has been held in place, waiting for this hour. But chosen one, don't just hear this and move on. This requires a response. Prophetic words demand agreement. Heaven has already released it. But your faith is what pulls it into visibility, so declare it now. I receive what heaven has released. When you speak that in faith, you are aligning your spirit with the timing of heaven. This is not the hour to be passive. This is the moment to move. You have always known you were different. There's a reason the places that welcomed others closed their doors to you. A reason why circles misunderstood you. Why environments resisted you. It wasn't your personality. It was your mantle. You carry a weight in the spirit that unsettles what isn't aligned with God. Even when you tried to fit in, you couldn't. And that's because you weren't designed to blend. You were designed to stand out. I know the sting of rejection. I know what it feels like to wonder if you're flawed because people didn't embrace you. But hear me. It wasn't rejection. It was divine protection. God saw what you couldn't. He knew the wrong voices would dilute your vision. He knew premature opportunities would crush you before you were ready. So, he hid you. What felt like abandonment was actually consecration. Chosen one. That hidden season was not punishment. It was proof. Proof that God trusted you enough to refine you in silence. Proof that he could separate you without breaking you. You survived isolation, and it birthed discernment. You endured loneliness, and it birthed intimacy with God. You questioned yourself, but heaven never questioned you. You are marked, and that mark cannot be erased. Now, the unveiling has begun. The hidden season did not bury you. It birthed you. The oil that was crushed in secret is about to flow in public. And make no mistake, the world will see it. Not to glorify you, but to glorify the one who placed it inside you all along. Being chosen never meant being perfect. You have stumbled, doubted, even cried out for it to end. But your strength was never in your perfection. It was in your surrender. Every time you whispered, God, I still choose you. Heaven took note. And that is why you are still standing. You are not just surviving. You are stepping into purpose. And nothing can stop it now. Chosen one. Understand this. What you carry is not fragile. It is sacred. And it has been preserved. God himself has been breathing into your promise. And what he breathes into cannot die. That's why even when you felt like the promise was slipping away, it never expired. Heaven was simply strengthening your roots before revealing your fruit. You've walked through dry places carrying promises that felt too heavy for you. Yet somehow they never withered. Why? Because they were sustained by God's breath, not by your own strength. You were set apart, not separated. There's a difference. Separation feels like abandonment. But being set apart means being positioned. Every detour, every delay, every closed door was God shifting your placement to align with your destiny. You've wrestled with isolation, questioned your value, and even wondered if something was wrong with you. But that rejection you felt was really God's redirection. He was removing the people who would drain you, withholding the opportunities that would distract you, and shielding you from battles you weren't ready to fight. What looked like silence was actually divine scaffolding, God building a structure around you so that when your calling emerged, it would not collapse under the weight of your purpose. Chosen one. The season you thought would break you has only proven what was inside you all along. You did not collapse. You bent. You did not die in the wilderness. You grew stronger roots. Others gave up, but you kept moving. Others grew bitter, but you stayed soft. Others lost faith, but yours was refined. That's why the world doesn't understand your wisdom now. They didn't walk through your wilderness. They didn't bleed in silence. But heaven saw it all. And heaven says this: you terrify the enemy, not because of how loud your voice is, but because of what you endured and still believe. After betrayal, you still obeyed. After delay, you still prayed. After disappointment, you still worshipped. Hell does not know what to do with someone who suffers in silence, yet refuses to stop trusting God. That's why your life carries such weight now. Even the angels have stood in awe watching your hidden obedience. They saw you sowing in tears, choosing holiness over convenience, denying your flesh when no one was watching. Those sacrifices may have gone unnoticed by people, but heaven kept record, not to inflate your ego, but to mark you for greater authority. And now, the Spirit of God declares, you were not punished. You were prepared. The tears sanctified you. The brokenness baptized you. The silence refined you. This is why your spirit is awakening now. The cycle of delay is breaking. The weight of old battles is lifting. A fresh wind is entering your spirit, stirring up fire you thought had burned out. What you endured was a furnace, not abandonment. And like gold tested in fire, you are emerging unshakable. Chosen one. Glory is coming. The kind of glory that makes every tear worth it. The kind of fulfillment that turns pain into testimony. This is not hype. This is heaven's decree. What was once hidden is about to be revealed. And when it is revealed, the world won't see your scars. They'll see God's glory shining through them. Chosen one, hear me clearly. Your life has not been a string of random events. What felt like endless tests were not punishments, but proving grounds. the silence, the delay, the betrayals, the closed doors. All of it was heaven, asking you one question: will you still choose me when you cannot feel me? You were tested in the furnace of disappointment. You were refined in the wilderness of not yet. You walked the hallway between prophecy and manifestation, and through it all, you did not let go. Like Jacob, you wrestled. Like Hannah, you wept. Like Job, you endured. Heaven looked at your process and did not flinch. God trusted your spirit enough to stretch your soul. And what did the test reveal? That you are stronger than you thought, that your faith runs deeper than you believed, that you are more faithful than you gave yourself credit for. Because in the moments where you wanted to walk away, you stayed. Even when your prayers were messy, even when your obedience trembled, even when your faith cracked, you still showed up, you still bowed low, you still whispered, "God, I choose you." That is what sets you apart. Not that you avoided the storm, but that you stood inside it. Not that you denied the pain, but that you refused to medicate it with compromise. You remained soft when bitterness tried to harden you. You chose purity when popularity looked easier. You chose integrity when shortcuts seemed tempting. Heaven saw every one of those choices, and none of them were wasted. Chosen one. Every delay was divine. Every denial was direction. Every detour was design. Heaven was not measuring your results, but your surrender. That's why the fire did not consume you. It consumed what was not built to last. The pain burned off the layers that did not belong. The brokenness stripped away what could not remain. And what's left is refined, steady, unshakable. You have been walking through a Job-esque-like season without even realizing it. God allowed certain things to be touched, not to harm you, but to purify your dependence on Him. You lost things you thought were permanent, people you thought would never leave, opportunities you were sure were from God. And each loss carved away another layer of what wasn't built on the rock. Yet here you are still standing, maybe a little bruised, maybe a little quieter, but also more focused, more grounded, more awake. The fire did not burn you. It burned off what didn't belong. And now, what remains is proven by heaven. This is why you are about to walk in greater authority, because your heart has been tested. Your motives have been sifted, not because God doubted you, but because the anointing you carry is too weighty to rest on untested ground. The oil on your life wasn't poured lightly. It was pressed out through your tears, through your obedience, through your faithfulness. When no one was watching, chosen one, this is your moment of divine promotion. Heaven is declaring, not whispering, that the season of hiding is ending. What was once unseen is now being revealed. What was delayed is now being accelerated. What was resisted is now being released. And nothing, not fear, not delay, not hell itself, can stop what God has set in motion. Chosen one. This is more than encouragement. This is activation. Even as you hear these words, something is breaking open in your spirit. The residue of old battles is falling away. The heaviness that clung to you is lifting. Weariness is being replaced by fresh wind, renewed fire, and a holy determination that whispers, I'm still here, and I'm moving forward. The very things the enemy used to try to silence you have only sharpened you. You are dangerous now, not because you shout louder than others, but because you are clear, You know who you are. You know who sent you. You know what you've survived to get here. Your obedience, your prayers, your perseverance have forged spiritual weapons that cannot be taken from you. Chosen one, you fought battles no one will ever know about. You've warred over promises others forgot you had. You've resisted temptations that tried to drag you back into patterns you had already broken. Every act of resistance was prophetic warfare. Every time you chose purity over compromise, you were striking blows against darkness. Every time you stayed when walking away seemed easier, you were building endurance. Every whispered prayer in exhaustion was a seed planted in eternity. And heaven saw it all. Heaven responded. That's why the atmosphere around you is shifting now. The struggle was never meant to it was the final obstacle before your breakthrough, and you refused to surrender. The resistance grew stronger because darkness recognized the promise over your life before you fully understood it yourself. That is why confusion tried to cloud your vision. That is why exhaustion attempted to convince you it was who you were. Yet every attack failed to stop what heaven had already ordained. Instead of being defeated, you emerged with strength refined through adversity. You are not stepping into your next season lacking anything. You are carrying wisdom, spiritual discernment, and unwavering perseverance, all shaped by the battles you survived. These are not ordinary qualities. They are gifts forged through endurance, powerful tools that heaven has placed in your hands. In time, everyone will witness the harvest produced by your faithfulness. Chosen one, do not keep this message locked within your heart. Someone nearby is silently fighting a battle no one else can see. Holding on with only a small measure of hope, your willingness to speak, encourage, and remain faithful may become the answer to their desperate prayer. This message reaches far beyond your own journey. It is part of a greater calling, entrusted to those who remained faithful in hidden places and are now being raised to shine with holy purpose. You are walking into opportunities that were prepared long before you arrived. Doors are opening not because you demanded access, but because you remained patient and trusted God's timing. Your name is being spoken with favor in places you have never visited. And new opportunities are finding their way to you because of the anointing you carry. When those moments arrive, you will not have to strive for acceptance or prove your worth. The presence of God upon your life will speak louder than any introduction you could give. Others will recognize something different before you even begin to speak. Never forget, however, that being chosen does not mean every step is easy. Walking into God's purpose often comes with a sacred sense of trembling. You may feel the weight of the calling resting upon you, but that weight is not fear. It is holy reverence. It is the overwhelming realization that you have finally arrived at the very place you once sought with countless prayers and unwavering faith. God has not just prepared the place. He has prepared you for the place. So walk with humility, but also with boldness. Walk fully knowing every step forward is not just promotion, it's placement. This is your appointed time. Heaven has endorsed you. The earth will soon recognize what heaven has always known. Chosen one. You are closer than it feels. Sometimes the last stretch is the hardest. Pressure intensifies. Silence deepens. And warfare sharpens. Not because you've gone the wrong way, but because breakthrough is closer than ever. You've been walking by faith so long that it almost feels like muscle memory. But your spirit knows something is about to break. This is not the moment to doubt what you've heard. This is not the time to replay old fears. Everything you've endured has brought you here to the line between what was and what will be. Your emotions may scream for retreat, but your spirit is holding the line. You've learned what the enemy hoped you'd never discover, that obedience is victory. Even before anything changes, you haven't wasted time. You haven't missed it. Even ein Detour. Even in seasons you called delay. Heaven was weaving perfect timing. What you thought was wasted was planted. What you thought was silence was strategy. And now, what's been buried is pressing against the soil, ready to emerge. Your roots went deep. So what springs forth will not be shallow. It will last because it was formed in pressure, in prayer, in persistence. You've carried prophetic weight in silence. You've clung to promises without proof. You've worshipped through disappointment and kept showing up when nothing looked different. That's the kind of faith God builds legacies on. Not loud, not flashy, but steady. Hidden obedience, quiet resilience. Surrender that doesn't demand signs. And now, the signs are beginning to follow. The tension you feel, that restlessness in your spirit, it's transition. It's the contraction before birth. It's the shaking of old structures that can no longer hold you. The greatest resistance often comes just before release. That's why temptations from your past have tried to revisit you. That's why familiar distractions keep knocking. But don't be fooled. This is not regression. This is the enemy panicking because he senses your release. Chosen one. You are stepping into multiplication, not just in resources, but in reach, in clarity, in impact. Hell cannot stop it. The only thing it can do is try to distract you from it. Stay focused. Guard your gaze. You are too close to turn back now. And here's how you'll know you're closer than ever. Your spirit will feel more awake. Your discernment sharper. You won't chase what doesn't carry your name anymore. You won't beg for what isn't aligned. The doors ahead won't intimidate you. They'll recognize you. They've been locked, not to keep you out, but to protect what was waiting for you. Heaven is already clearing your path. Angels are stationed at intersections ahead. Resources are stirring. People are being positioned. You don't need to orchestrate it. You only need to stay yielded. Keep your oil pure. Keep your spirit anchored. Keep your eyes forward. Chosen one. The vision may linger, but it will not delay. When it comes, it will come suddenly. You won't have time to rehearse. You'll simply walk through the open door as if you always knew it would open because, deep down, your spirit always did. So, let this truth thunder louder than fear. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are almost there. Heaven hasn't carried you this far to leave you standing at the edge. Hold steady. Stay faithful. You are about to step into everything He promised. Chosen one. Let this sink into your spirit. You were always the shift. Long before people recognized it, long before you even believed it, Heaven already knew. You weren't designed to blend in. You were designed to transform atmospheres. That's why the warfare has been so personal. The enemy saw the fire rising in you before you did and tried everything to suffocate it. But instead of extinguishing you, the pressure only made you burn brighter. You are not just walking into breakthrough. You are walking in with authority forged in silence. You've come out of confusion, shaken off doubt. And though your steps may still tremble, you are moving forward anyway. That's what heaven honors. Not perfection, but surrender. You prayed when it was hard. You obeyed when it cost you. You kept showing up when no one was clapping. That is why your presence now unsettles what is misaligned. Chosen one. Your very life is disruptive to darkness. You don't need to shout to carry authority. Heaven doesn't measure impact by volume, but by surrender. The more surrendered you've become, the more dangerous you are to hell. That's why certain doors shut. That's why some circles went quiet. It wasn't rejection. It was preservation. God hid you to protect the oil until the right time. And now, that time is here. You are stepping into your prepared places. Doors are opening that you didn't knock on. Rooms are recognizing your name before you enter. Not because of connections, but because of covering. Not because of manipulation, but because of heaven's endorsement. Don't shrink back when it happens. Don't sabotage it with self-doubt. You didn't take shortcuts. You paid full price in tears, in perseverance, in obedience. Now you are not just being rewarded. You are being released. Chosen one. When you walk into these places, the atmosphere will shift before you speak. Your anointing will settle the room. You won't need validation to be valuable. What's been prepared for you already makes room for you. Walk humbly, but also walk boldly. Walk like one who knows every step forward is not just promotion. It's placement. Strategic. Supernatural. Sealed by God. And don't forget this. The crown still fits. You may feel battle-worn. You may see your scars. But none of that disqualifies you. In fact, it qualifies you even more deeply. You understand now that the crown is not for decoration. It is for delegation. It represents responsibility, authority, and assignment. Wear it fully. Wear it without apology. Wear it as a reminder of the one who called you and the people who will rise because you rose. There are lives waiting for your obedience, breakthroughs that will happen because you didn't quit, generations that will be shifted because you chose God over compromise. You are more than a testimony. You are a living map for those who have lost their way. Let your life declare it's possible to go through fire and still come out radiant with glory. Chosen one. This is your moment. The silence has ended. The waiting has turned into walking. You are not just crowned. You are commissioned. Move ahead without hesitation and embrace the place prepared for you. Heaven is standing beside you, and the world is about to witness what God has been shaping in secret. No fear, no delay, and no force of darkness has the authority to stop what the Lord has already begun. Chosen one. This is far more than the closing words of a message. It is the opening chapter of a brand new season in your life. You were led here because your appointed time has arrived. What you have prayed for is no longer something far away. It is becoming your present reality. The divine exchange has already started. Doors that once refused to open are giving way. The burdens you carried have been transformed into an anointing, and that anointing is now overflowing through every area of your life. You have entered your Kairos season, the moment heaven ordained long before you ever recognized it. God has confirmed his promise, and nothing in creation has the power to overturn what he has spoken over you. You are no longer reaching toward possibility. You are stepping directly into the fulfillment of his word. The veil has been removed. The silence has come to an end. And the shift you have waited for is already unfolding. Chosen one, continue your journey with a thankful heart. unwavering faith, and courageous confidence. The work of your hands will carry blessing. The words you speak will release authority. And the impact of your obedience will reach far beyond what your eyes can see. You are not late to God's plan. You are perfectly aligned with His timing. You are no longer standing still in expectation. You are advancing with purpose. As you continue forward, heaven's angels move alongside you, strengthening and guiding each step. Keep your spirit firmly rooted, your heart fully surrendered, and your eyes fixed on the promises God has spoken. This miracle is not uncertain or temporary. It has been firmly established by heaven itself. God's approval is already resting upon your life. If this message has stirred faith within your spirit, declare with confidence, "Still chosen." As a prophetic expression of your trust, share these words with someone who needs renewed hope, allowing this message to become a seed that produces breakthrough in another life. Remain connected to this stream of encouragement and truth, because these moments are more than ordinary messages. They are divine invitations arranged by heaven. Chosen one. Go forward with bold faith. Carry the fire God has placed within you. Walk confidently into everything He has prepared, knowing that your miracle has arrived, and heaven has made sure you will not miss it. Chosen one, listen with your whole heart. Your presence here is no accident. You were not randomly led to this message. Every step has been directed by heaven, because you have arrived at the doorway of an extraordinary season prepared specifically for you. This is more than perfect timing. It is a sacred encounter where God's eternal purpose meets your present reality. The distance between the natural and the supernatural is narrowing as the Lord begins to reveal what He promised long ago. A season of supernatural increase has been reserved for this moment, and heaven is positioning you to receive what was prepared before you ever saw it coming. Every hardship you endured, every season of waiting, and every hidden chapter of your journey has served a greater purpose. None of it was meaningless. It was shaping your character and preparing your hands for what was to come. As Habakkuk 2:3 reminds us, "For the vision awaits an appointed time, though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Chosen one. That appointed time is no longer ahead of you. It has arrived. You are not simply hearing another inspirational message. You are receiving a prophetic reminder that the season of limitation is ending and a new season of abundance is beginning. Lift your expectations. Open your heart. Heaven is making room for blessings that exceed anything you have imagined. What God has prepared is already on its way. The answer has been released, and your life is approaching a transformation that will testify to His faithfulness. Those who once overlooked your journey will one day stand in amazement as they witness what only God could accomplish. Chosen one. Allow these words to settle deeply within your spirit. You are standing at the edge of a breakthrough that your natural understanding can barely comprehend. The promise before you is greater than your past experiences and larger than your greatest expectations. For a long time, you have carried unanswered prayers, quiet disappointments, and unseen battles that no one else fully understood. There were nights when hope felt distant and mornings when you wondered whether anything would ever change. Yet you are here today because heaven has intentionally brought you to this moment. This is not chance. It is God's appointed time to announce that a supernatural shift has already begun, and your life is being positioned to receive everything He has faithfully prepared for you. This is more than a financial breakthrough. It is a divine release of provision, peace, and purpose that will transform how you see yourself and how the world sees you. I know what it feels like to stand in that space between promise and manifestation, where your bank account looks empty, but your faith is still whispering, "Hold on." I've been there, clinging to hope when nothing in the natural made sense. And it was in those moments of surrender, when I had no strength left to fight, that God showed me He had already made a way. Chosen one, that same God who carried me through, is about to carry you into a season of undeniable abundance. You're not stepping into this blessing because of luck, or because you fought hard than everyone else, or even because you did everything perfectly. You're stepping into it because God's timing has arrived. The doors that were shut are now creaking open. The no's you endured were not rejections, but divine redirections preparing you for a greater yes. This billionaire's blessing is not about money alone, though you will see financial miracles that leave you in awe. It is about walking in a richness of spirit, a wealth of vision, and a life so full of light that people will see God's hand all over you. Think of how Joseph went from the pit to the palace. He didn't get there by chance. It was because heaven had already written the script. In the same way, your story has been written, and this chapter is about your elevation. But hear me. This transfer comes with responsibility. You are not being blessed so you can hoard, fear, or prove people wrong. You are being blessed so that you can become a vessel, a living testimony of God's goodness in the earth. This is why the pressure was so heavy, why the waiting was so long. God was shaping you, refining you, teaching you to trust Him completely, so that when the blessing arrived, you would carry it with wisdom and humility. Chosen one, your season of scarcity has expired. The heavens are opening, and a flow of abundance is being released into your life. But it's not random. It's targeted. It's aligned, and it has your name on it. Your task now is simple. Open your heart, lift your head, and walk forward in faith. Because what's arriving isn't just enough to cover your needs. It's more than enough to rewrite your story. Chosen one, let's go deeper into this word. The blessing that God is sending your way has not been delayed. It has been divinely scheduled. You may feel like you have been waiting for far too long, wondering if heaven forgot your name, wondering if the promises whispered to your spirit were just your imagination. But I assure you, they were not. What you thought was delay was actually design. Heaven was not ignoring you. It was preparing you. I can testify from my own life. I've had seasons where it felt like everything was standing still. I worked hard, prayed hard, and gave my best. Yet doors stayed shut. Every yes I thought was secure suddenly turned into a no. I would lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, asking, God, did I miss it? Did I fail somewhere? But as the years passed and hindsight revealed the truth, I realized something powerful. Those waiting seasons were not wasted. They were the very groundwork for the life I am walking in today. God used what I thought was silence to sharpen my character, to prune my circle, to prepare me for blessings I couldn't have handled before. Chosen one, that's exactly what He's been doing for you. Every closed door was protection. Every setback was a redirection. Every lonely season was preparation. And now, because you endured, you are about to step into a release that will make sense of it all. What's coming isn't just money in your account. Though financial miracles are already moving in your direction, what's coming is positioning. God is about to place you in spaces you could never enter on your own. People with influence, resources, and authority are about to be drawn to you. Your name will be spoken in rooms where you've never stepped foot, and favor will open doors that effort never could. This is what a billionaire's blessing looks like. It's more than currency. It's access. It's legacy. It's alignment. And this time, it's safe. For too long, you lived with the fear that every good thing might vanish just as quickly as it appeared. You've tasted blessings that slipped through your fingers, opportunities that dissolved overnight, and it left you cautious, even suspicious of hope. But chosen one, hear me. This transfer is different. This blessing is not fragile. It's not conditional on man's approval or the world's systems. This is provision signed and sealed by heaven itself. It is backed by divine authority, and no one can revoke it. You've been faithful in the little things. You kept sowing when you had little left to give. You encouraged others, even when your own heart was breaking. You stayed on your path when it would have been easier to quit. And heaven has recorded every act of obedience, every hidden sacrifice, every tear you thought no one saw. Now the reward is arriving, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Not just enough to cover your needs, but enough to overflow into generations after you. So, don't shrink back now. Don't question your worthiness. Don't let the voice of fear convince you that this is too good to be true. Stentel. Lift your eyes. Envision the life God has been preparing you for. A life where you thrive instead of merely survive. A life where overflow is your new normal. Chosen one. The billionaire's blessing is not a rumor. It is not distant. It is here, and it has your name written on it. Chosen one. Let me speak this clearly. The blessing that is coming upon you is not just about increase. It's about transformation. Yes, financial miracles are on their way. Unexpected deposits, debts dissolving, opportunities that seem to fall straight out of heaven. But what God is doing goes much deeper than money. He is reordering your life from the inside out. Think of it this way. Abundance is not only measured by what's in your bank account. True abundance touches your relationships, your health, your sense of peace, your clarity of purpose, even your joy when you wake up in the morning. And that's what this billionaire's blessing carries. A wholeness that radiates through every part of your life. I remember when I first experienced a glimpse of this kind of transformation. I was focused on bills, worried about how to get by. I prayed for provision. But God gave me more than provision. He gave me perspective. Instead of chasing money, He taught me to seek His kingdom first. And suddenly, doors opened I never knocked on. Peace returned where anxiety once lived. Friendships were restored. Opportunities came that had nothing to do with my resume, but everything to do with His favor. That is the nature of divine blessing. It doesn't just fix one area. It floods every area. Chosen one. God is positioning you the same way. The billionaire's blessing will make you a living testimony, a light that shines in the dark. People will see the shift in you. They'll notice the glow on your face, the calm in your spirit, the boldness in your voice. And they will ask, what changed? And you will point them back to the source, the one who funds visions, heals wounds, and restores futures. This blessing is also a call to alignment. You don't have to strive or chase or exhaust yourself trying to make it happen. The world says, work harder, hustle more, burn yourself out just to survive. But God's word whispers something different. Seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. When your heart is aligned with heaven, resources flow naturally. Doors open without force. Blessings chase you down instead of you chasing them. Chosen one. This is your reminder. You were never created for scarcity. You were created for greatness, for overflow, for a life that reflects God's goodness in visible ways. This billionaire's blessing is not a reward for perfection. It is not payment for performance. It is evidence of identity. You are chosen. You are beloved. And because of who you are in Him, heaven is pouring out favor that will shock even you. Get ready for the ripple effect. As the blessing begins to manifest, your relationships will heal. Your vision will sharpen. Your spirit will overflow with joy. You will not only rise for yourself, but you will lift others as you go. This is how God works. He blesses you so that you can become the channel of blessing for those around you. Chosen one. This is your moment. The floodgates are opening, and your life is about to become the evidence that God is faithful to His promises. Chosen one. Let me take you deeper. This billionaire's blessing is not simply about the resources you will one day see in your hands. It is first and foremost about what God is shaping inside your heart. Because every great outpouring carries a holy weight of responsibility, and heaven does not pour into a vessel that is not prepared to overflow. This is why you have walked through seasons that tested your soul. The waiting that felt endless, the stretching that pulled you beyond your comfort, the lonely nights when you wondered if God had forgotten you. Those moments were not wasted. They were the chisels in the Master's hand, enlarging your capacity so that when the blessing arrives, you will not break under the glory of its weight. Think for a moment about Joseph. Before he ever wore the robe of authority in Pharaoh's palace, he first wore the heavy chains of a prison cell. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, and abandoned by those he once helped. Yet through it all, he was never abandoned by God. The Word records that even in the darkness, the Lord was with him and made everything he did prosper. That same unshakable favor rests on you now. Chosen one. Your setbacks were never the end. They were setups. Your detours were not mistakes. They were hidden directions, guiding you toward destiny. Every tear, every trial, every closed door was secretly preparing you for a transfer that will not just elevate your life, but transform the generations that come after you. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. The blessing that is on its way will carry both provision and purpose. It will not be a stagnant pool of wealth that sits unused. It will be a river flowing and multiplying. It will heal broken dreams in your family line. It will rewrite generational stories of struggle into living testimonies of triumph. You will become the one who changes the narrative. Those who once doubted you, mocked you, or dismissed, you will have no choice but to acknowledge the undeniable hand of God moving upon your life. But with this promise comes a sacred responsibility. With great blessing comes a call to live differently. This billionaire's blessing is not given for selfishness, nor to hoard, nor to flaunt. It is poured out so that you may become a vessel of God's love and goodness in the earth. When you choose kindness over cruelty, when you lift the weary instead of ignoring them, when you embrace generosity instead of greed, you create a current in the spirit that heaven delights to multiply. I know this to be true because I have lived it. There was a season in my journey when I had little left to give, and yet I felt God whisper to release what I had. It didn't make sense logically, but in obedience I gave. That small act opened doors I didn't even know existed. Blessing after blessing followed. And I learned something life-changing. Generosity is the master key to abundance. The more you pour out, the more God trusts you to carry. So, let this truth settle deep in your spirit. Every time you release love, resources, or encouragement, heaven mirrors it back to you in multiplied form. This is why the enemy fights so hard. He plants fear, doubt, and unworthiness in your heart. He whispers, "It's too much for you. This blessing isn't really meant for you." But hear me. God's plan has never depended on what you deserve. It has always rested on who He island, and He is faithful. So, chosen one, lift your head high. Walk boldly into this season. Prepare your hands to receive. The billionaire's blessing is not a rumor. It is not a distant dream. It is a divine reality already moving swiftly toward you. Heaven has signed your on this transfer, and nothing can revoke it. It is yours. Chosen one, let me whisper a divine secret to your spirit. Every blessing that comes down from heaven is never only about what you receive. It is about who you become. The billionaire's blessing that is flowing toward you will surely place resources in your hands. Yes, but more than that, it will call forth a new version of you to emerge. The wealth that is coming is not meant to make you comfortable alone. It is designed to reveal the strength that trials have forged in you, the depth of your faith that battles have refined, and the beauty of your heart that has endured the storms. This blessing is God's way of showing the world that His chosen ones are extraordinary, set apart for glory. Look at Abraham. When God declared that he would be the father of many nations, everything around him testified against the promise. His age said no. Sarah's barrenness said no. Human logic declared it impossible, and yet Abraham chose to believe. His faith brought forth not only a son, but a legacy that still speaks today. Chosen one, perhaps your billionaire's blessing doesn't look possible right now. Maybe your bank account is empty. Maybe your environment feels barren. Maybe the numbers don't add up. But God is not bound by earthly conditions. When He decides to bless you, He doesn't check statistics. He doesn't wait for approval. And He surely doesn't ask your enemies. His decree stands eternal. This blessing goes far beyond paid bills and cancelled debts. It is about restoration on every level of your life. God is about to show up in such a powerful way that every barren place will bloom. Broken relationships will be mended. Lost confidence will be restored. Old visions will be renewed. Dreams you thought were dead will be ignited again. Your soul will burn with fresh fire and divine purpose. That is why I say with urgency, do not ignore all this blessing. It has the power to shift everything about your life. But here is your role. Chosen one, God has already written the check in heaven, but faith is the pen that signs it on earth. Your belief is the bridge between the promise and the manifestation. Believe small, and you will see small. Believe boldly, and you will step into overflow. I know what it feels like to wrestle with doubt. I've walked through nights when fear shouted louder than faith, and days when lack seemed permanent. Yet every time I chose to trust God instead of the storm, doors opened that no man could shut. This moment right now is your Kairos moment, your divinely appointed time. Do not let fear cause you to shrink back. Stand in alignment. Speak life over yourself. Wake up declaring, I am chosen, I am blessed, I am walking in divine abundance. Your words are not empty. They create the atmosphere for miracles to manifest. Understand this. Chosen one. The billionaire's blessing is not random. It is precise. It has been designed to position you for influence, for impact, for purpose. You will fund dreams. You will bless families. You will carry God's kingdom into new territory. And as you walk humbly, clothed in gratitude, you will discover the greatest wealth is not in what you hold, but in what you release. So, prepare yourself. Align your spirit. Keep your hands open, because what is coming will not only change your account balance, it will transform your destiny. You are stepping into a season where miracles multiply and heaven's abundance flows without measure. This, chosen one, is your inheritance. Chosen one, as you step deeper into this season, I need you to understand something vital. Blessings attract battles. Every time God elevates you, the enemy gets nervous. He cannot stop what heaven has already released, but he will try to distract you, discourage you, or convince you that you are unworthy. That's why this next phase of your journey requires not just faith, but also armor. You will notice that as your breakthrough draws near, opposition may rise. Friends may misunderstand you. Opportunities may look delayed. Doubts may echo louder. But remember, these are not signs of failure. They are confirmations that you are close. Pressure has never been the end of your story. Just as diamonds are shaped through immense weight, God's chosen servants are strengthened through seasons of refining. Every trial has been preparing you for the blessings ahead, so that when greater responsibility is placed in your hands, you will carry it with wisdom, humility, and unwavering faith rather than pride. I have witnessed this truth firsthand. Before one of the greatest turning points in my own journey, it felt as though everything around me was falling apart. Financial stability disappeared. Relationships unraveled. Fear constantly insisted that my future had reached its end. Yet it was in that difficult valley that I discovered how powerfully God works when every natural answer has been exhausted. Looking back, I now understand that those painful seasons were not signs of defeat. They were evidence that God was strengthening my faith and preparing me for what He had already planned. Chosen one. The same refining work is taking place in your life. Do not allow the enemy's whispers to settle in your heart. He will try to convince you that the promise is unrealistic or that such blessings belong only to someone else. Reject those lies. If God had not intended to bless you, He would never have called you into this season. Your life has already been marked by His purpose. The anointing He has placed upon you cannot be erased or overlooked. Chosen one, keep your attention fixed on His direction. Prosperity without purpose quickly loses its value, but blessings surrendered to God's will become instruments that multiply far beyond personal gain. That is why the Lord is inviting you to do more than simply receive. He is calling you to remain closely connected to His heart. The abundance He desires to entrust to you is not meant to become a burden of possessions, but a resource that empowers you to fulfill your divine assignment with freedom and generosity. You are being prepared to build what others thought impossible. You will become a source of hope, a blessing to those in need, and an encouragement to countless lives. As God works through you, every voice of doubt that once questioned your calling will be silenced by the evidence of His faithfulness. Above all, guard a heart filled with gratitude. Thankfulness keeps your spirit humble, your vision focused, and your relationship with God strong. Begin each new day by praising Him. not only for the blessings already visible, but also for the promises that are still unfolding. Faith expressed through gratitude opens your heart to recognize the goodness of God long before every promise becomes visible. Gratitude is the magnet that pulls the unseen into the visible. Chosen one. The supernatural transfer is already in motion. It's flowing even now through divine connections, unexpected opportunities, sudden breakthroughs. Heaven is aligning every piece. Your only task is to stay in position. Guard your spirit. Stay humble. Keep declaring God's promises, and when the blessing arrives, and it will, you will know it wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was divine orchestration. This billionaire's blessing will shock the doubters. Bless your family and establish your legacy. You are not waiting for it someday. You are walking into it now. Stentel, anointed one. The windows of heaven are open over you. Chosen one. As this billionaire's blessing unfolds, something in you will begin to radiate differently. It will not just be about what you carry in your bank account, but about what you carry in your spirit. You will step into places where once you were overlooked, and suddenly your presence will command attention, not through pride, but through the undeniable fragrance of divine favor. This is the kind of shift that cannot be manufactured. It is the mark of heaven upon you. God is not only transferring resources, He is transferring influence. The authority you are about to walk in will go beyond material wealth. It will be spiritual authority that changes atmospheres. When you speak, hearts will awaken. When you enter a room, solutions will emerge. This is because the oil of God on your life is not meant to be hidden. You are stepping into a season where you become both the message and the evidence. I've seen glimpses of this in my own journey. There was a time when I had almost nothing, but even in lack, people would say, "There's something about you that brings peace." That was God showing me, abundance starts in the spirit. And now, chosen one. He is pairing that spiritual overflow with financial overflow. You will not only inspire people, you will empower them. You will not only speak life, you will fund life-changing opportunities. The billionaire's blessing coming your way is not shallow wealth. It is wealth with purpose. Wealth that builds schools, shelters, and legacies. Wealth that provides for families, creates jobs, and restores dignity to communities. This is why the battles were so fierce against you. The enemy was terrified of the impact you would have once resourced. But every fiery trial was forging resilience. Every closed door was shaping discernment. What the enemy meant to silence you will become the testimony that amplifies God's power in your story. Chosen one. Remain anchored. Wealth without wisdom can become a storm. But wealth, rooted in God, becomes a river that never runs dry. Remember this. Money is a servant, not a master. Let it serve your calling. Let it fuel the dreams God placed inside you, not distract you from them. Keep your heart humble and your eyes on Him, and your prosperity will never consume you. God is also orchestrating divine alignments, new mentors, new partnerships, new friendships, people who will not compete with your calling, but will sharpen it. The wrong crowd drains. The right crowd multiplies. Surround yourself with those who recognize the oil on your life and push you to walk boldly in it. These alignments are not random. They are heaven-sent appointments designed for this very season. Chosen one. This billionaire's blessing is not coincidence. It is prophecy fulfilled. It is God declaring through your life that His promises are living, active, and unshakable. Every step you take will testify of His goodness. And as you live with generosity, courage, and gratitude, you will not just receive blessings, you will become a carrier of them. So, walk boldly. Stentel. The transfer is already in motion, the abundance is already flowing, and your life is about to shine as a beacon of God's unstoppable glory. Chosen one. This is the moment we have been building toward. The revelation that your billionaire's blessing is not a faraway dream. It is here. It is unfolding, even as you listen to these words. Heaven has already released it, and earth is aligning to deliver it into your hands. This is your Kairos moment, your divinely appointed time where everything changes. Do not let fear, comparison, or doubt steal this from you. The world will try to tell you that wealth is only for a few, that you missed your chance, or that you don't deserve it. But God's plan has never been about what you deserve. It has always been about His covenant promises. His word declares that He gives the power to produce wealth, and that power is rising in you now. You are not stepping into this blessing by accident. You were chosen, prepared, and refined for it. This billionaire's blessing is more than money. It is a divine reset. Old cycles are breaking. Generational chains are shattering. What held your family back will no longer hold you. You are the one God has handpicked to carry abundance, not only for yourself, but for generations to come. You will establish new legacies. You will plant new seeds. You will open doors that your children and grandchildren will walk through with ease. Chosen one, I encourage you. Embrace this blessing with gratitude. Gratitude is the soil where miracles multiply. Thank God daily for what you see and for what you have not yet seen. Celebrate even the small wins, because they are signs that the floodgates are opening wider. The more you thank Him, the more He entrusts to you. Gratitude keeps your spirit aligned with heaven's flow. And as this transfer manifests, remember humility. Wealth is not proof of your greatness, but of God's goodness. He has trusted you with resources, not so you can boast, but so you can bless. Be the one who builds, who gives, who shines light in dark places. Use your prosperity as a testimony that God is faithful and His promises never fail. I have seen it firsthand. Those who honor God with their abundance never run dry. Their blessings outlive them. Their impact multiplies, and their story inspires others to trust in the same God of provision. That is your future. That is your assignment. Chosen one, hear me clearly. You are stepping into overflow. You are moving from survival to significance, from scarcity to surplus, from just enough to more than enough. The billionaire's blessing is your inheritance, sealed by heaven and confirmed by the Spirit. Walk into it boldly. Now, I invite you, declare your faith today. In the comments, write the words, I am ready. Lord. That simple declaration is a spiritual transaction, aligning your faith with heaven's abundance. And if this message resonates in your soul, share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Together, we are a community of chosen ones rising into divine prosperity. Chosen one, this is your time. This is your moment. Step into it with faith, with joy, and with courage. The promise has arrived. The divine release has begun, and your life is entering a season that will never look the same again. Chosen one, this is your Kairos moment. The time heaven appointed long before you ever recognized it. God's perfect timing has met your journey, and the blessing he prepared is already unfolding before you. The answers you have prayed for, the increase you have believed for, and the breakthrough you have patiently awaited are no longer distant hopes. They are becoming your present reality. You are not standing on the edge of favor, hoping it will find you. You are already walking within it. Beloved, you have been set apart by God for this very hour. Every challenge you overcame, every hidden season of growth, and every tear shed in quiet places has been preparing you for this divine moment. Heaven's storehouses are opening, and what God is releasing into your life will not stop with you. It will touch your family, influence future generations, and become living evidence of His faithfulness. This extraordinary blessing is far more than material increase. It is a sacred assignment wrapped in divine purpose. It is a confirmation of your calling and a reminder that God has chosen you to carry His goodness into the world. Walk confidently into everything He has already prepared. Keep your heart surrendered, your hands ready to receive and give, and your faith firmly rooted in His promises. Live with generosity, speak with confidence, and remember that no weapon formed against you will succeed because the Lord Himself goes before you. God is surrounding you with His protection, directing your steps, and causing every act of obedience to produce an abundant harvest. Chosen one, lift your eyes with confidence. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is renewing your strength, breathing fresh life into your dreams, and making a way where none seemed possible. This is your season to shine with purpose, to testify to God's goodness, and to carry His anointing with confidence and humility. Do not shrink back or hesitate. Embrace the calling He has placed upon your life with unwavering faith. If these words have awakened something within your spirit, declare them with bold faith. Speak them, share them, and hold firmly to the expectation that God's promises are already being fulfilled. The blessing is no longer something waiting in the distance. It has entered your life. Go forward with courage. Chosen one, because the divine work God began has already been set into motion, and nothing can prevent the fulfillment of His perfect plan.